Hello, Illumineers. We are here again today. We're going to talk about card breakdown. I'm here with Jose, and hopefully DJ the zoologist will be joining us again, but we don't know. So you're stuck with the both of us. So pretty basic. Today we're going to be going over breakdowns of card types, and then just a breakdown of the card itself. Different archetypes, different types of cards, etc. So let's jump right in. So most basic, I think that obviously either everybody already knows or has a decent understanding of is the 5 different card types that we have. Most obviously, we have characters. We also have actions. So good job is an action. And then we have songs. And it's a little confusing because actions and songs are different, but so an action is not a song, but a song is an action.
All songs are actions, but not all actions are songs.
Yeah. So what makes a song different is that it'll say on the card a character with cost of 3 or more. So for friends on the other side, for as an example, because it is a 3 cost action that is also a song, you can sing it with a character that is either a singer 3 or higher, or you can sing it with a character that has the same cost or higher. Where it says a character with cost 3 or more may exert to sing this song for free. So then you would not have to expend any ink. You would just exert that card or that character card, and you would be able to, in this situation, draw 2 cards. Um, can be a little bit confusing, but in the case of like a Pete where it says your opponent cannot play any actions, that would also include songs. Again, not all actions are songs, but all songs are actions.
There
Um,
you go.
I know, I think I said it wrong the first time. Anyways, I'm a little sleepy. The other thing we have are items, and then, oh, look, guys. DJ's back!
Hey,
The next thing we have are items, and then more recently, in set 3, I believe, locations were introduced. So we're gonna go over kind of the basics for this. First things first, I'm actually glad I didn't mean to do this, but I ended up doing it, which is kind of good. So first thing we're gonna talk about is, and I apologize for this highlight being so big, but it wouldn't let me change the size of it. First thing we're gonna talk about is cost and inkability, or if it's inkable or not inkable versus not inkable. So you see how on the location it's so big, it drives me nuts. So you see how on this location it has like this kind of like swirl around the 2? That indicates that it's inkable. So every card except for this one is an inkable card. So you'll know that it's not inkable because it doesn't have like the nice pretty swirl around it.
and
Um
what that means is that it can be used as a resource for your turn
mhm,
to turn it into ink.
for your inkwell. Only cards that have this swirl can be put into your inkwell to be used in your next turn or the current turn to play out other cards. And then we have in the same spot, obviously, the cost of the card. So Dwarven Mine costs 2 to play. Hades costs 7 to play. Good job costs 1 to play. If that is confusing, let us know in the comments and we can explain further. Um, and then there's a couple different attributes for the cards. Um,
An important aspect of Disney Lorcana is going to be a character's strength and willpower. So, what you might see as its attack and defense. So, all characters will have a strength value, which will be designated right here. As we can see, this Hades has a strength of 3, which just means when it
oh,
challenges into, when its 3 gets completely covered in red ink here.
that was an
uh,
accident.
when he challenges into another character or another character challenges into him, or for the sake of abilities that say a character with strength 3 or less gets banished. For example, hello Medusa. That is where the strength will come into play. So it will deal its damage to another character to their willpower based on the power. So Hades would deal 3 in a challenge against another character. And then the willpower or defense, as you may think of it as, Hades has 6 willpower, which means how much damage does Hades need to take before he is banished and removed from the field. So he has a fairly healthy body of 6 willpower. So they would need to attack in with a 4 strength character and then another 2+ strength character to be able to actually remove him from play. So damage counters do stay on a character until they are removed by, say, healing aspects, or the character just goes to the banish pile. Because in some games, damage counters go away at the end of every turn. Damage is kind of resolved, whereas in Disney Lorcana, damage does stay on, and typically those are indicated via dice typically. So you would put that Hades has, say, 4 damage counters on him, which means we know he has 2 willpower remaining before he has to be removed from play. You'll also see location card types that they will not have a strength value. Not sure if they will ever introduce that feature.
That would be
But
crazy.
yes, where it's like the Briar Patch and Lion King, I can see would have
Oh yeah.
when you challenge into the Briar Patch. Well, I think of like the rabbit with the Briar Patch, but where all the hyenas had to chase into, and he got called Cactus Butt. But the Seven Dwarfs Mine has 6 willpower, which means it stays on the field as a location until characters have dealt or via songs have dealt enough damage to it for it to leave the field. So you would need to attack in with Hades twice in order to take out the Seven Dwarfs Mine from the field. So that's kind of an important aspect of knowing the survivability of cards, the power, the strength of a card, and how long you think it's going to last on the field. If it has 1 willpower, it is going to get taken out by a stiff breeze. Yeah. Any other kind of interesting things when it comes to strength and willpower that you all can think of? I usually think like modification cards of
Yeah.
things that will buff your character's strength in certain aspects. Rapunzel's tower location that gives characters their extra willpower, and a lot of these tie into a lot of the themes within Disney Lorcana.
And then there's a really good one if you ever play a locations deck that has Amber. Fix It Felix, the shift card, gives all of your locations extra willpower. I
I'm
almost said
about to go
strength.
ahead and give it strength.
I know. Yeah, we're getting 2 extra
Put some
strength.
boxing gloves on these locations.
I think
But
the
yeah,
only other important part to remember is that a character can have 0 strength, but can never have 0 willpower.
yeah,
Yes.
they'll always have a minimum of 1 willpower, but a lot there are, especially more recently, we've seen a lot of characters with 0 strength.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they usually have
Um,
some or sort of other utility factor, like an ability that is what they're used for, but they're not really meant to deal damage in combat with another character.
yeah. And then something to mention, mostly because this was a question that was asked a lot and something that a lot of people wanted us to mention. So characters stay on the board until they're banished. Locations and items also stay on the board until they're banished. Songs and actions are one-time use. Um, there is either for items, especially for items and locations, there are cards that will banish them, or there are cards like the Underworld. Is it the Underworld? No, it's the new Pride Land, the newer Pride Lands that came out. You can banish it to like you can banish your location to retrieve a card from your discard, and then items like Popsicle, you can banish them to heal a character. Um, that's just kind of like a clarification thing on like how long they'll stay on the board.
Yeah.
Some items will say to exert it for its effect,
Mhm.
and other ones will say to exert it or banish or both. It's just a matter of what the item dictates to get its effect.
Yeah.
Yeah, where if it's just an ink cost to it, then and no other exerting or banishing tied to it, it can be repeated for as many times as you can pay that ink cost. Whereas the exerting, you can only exert a character or item once a turn. You can't exert an already exerted character or item, so that limits you to a one-time use typically of those characters and items.
Mhm.
And it's a good point as far as what stays on the field, because we kind of take that as like a for granted when we're talking about this. But it's an important note that, I don't have friends on the other side forever and just continually draw cards.
Mhm.
We
Imagine. That'd be
Yeah,
insane.
right. Just every turn draw 2 cards just because of the action. But
Yeah.
yeah, I usually think towards, if anyone played Magic the Gathering, kind of thinking towards like things that are permanents, that are on the field uh, until they get removed by any sort of means, versus like instants and sorceries. Those are one time they come into play and then go to your banish pile. They go into what we call the bag, which we'll go into later with their effects.
Mhm. Um, Another thing to note, it is I think very important to become familiar with the symbols on the cards. So for example, when we say exert, this symbol right here that I have circled, I was about to point at my screen like you guys could see it, where it says a character with 3 costs or more can, and then it's like this little symbol right here, that means to exert. And a lot of cards will show that symbol versus like saying to exert. And then like on the hidden cove, it says characters get +1 strength and +1 willpower. So you notice that the symbols are the same. Just so it makes it a lot easier to like for understanding purposes.
Same on
I
Good Job. You have a lore,
Yeah, a lore pip, which is the same symbol as the what's on the characters. +1 lore, +2 lore,
and on
plus.
and on Vitalosphere you have an ink, paying
Yep.
Mhm.
1 ink. So
Y'all. Lots of different symbols, but honestly, it's very easy once you start playing the game. It all kind of starts to meld together and you understand pretty quickly.
just shortcut. Nice.
What? I'm like a deer in the headlights. Anyways. um, so moving to location specifically, all locations have what we call a move cost. So once you play a location, for some locations, specifically these two, are like two of the most popular currently, and also have two different move costs and two different effects. So Dwarven Mine, once you play it out for 2, you can move a character, whether it be a knight or just any character, to the Dwarven Mine for 2. So you have to pay 2 ink to play, and then 2 ink to move it to that location. And for this card specifically, it'll deal 1 damage. If it's a knight, it'll deal 2 damage. And it will also, at the start of your turn, very, very important that when you start your turn, you ready, which means to unexert all of your cards, set, which means to do all of start of turn effects. So, like, for example, gaining lore from a location. You will gain that lore at the start of your turn, and then go is you draw your card. Ready, set, go. I never do that. But it's very important in tournament circumstances to gain your lore at the beginning of your turn. Um, and then there's cards like Hidden Cove that do not, location cards like Hidden Cove that do not gain you lore. So you have ones that do, and you have ones that don't. Generally, the ones that don't, though, have really broken effects like Hidden Cove, where you get +1 strength and +1 willpower. So
Yeah.
It's a good trade.
it's a pretty good trade off, if I do say. But yeah, so this number right here is going to always be what the move cost is for that card. I think the only exception to that is the Sugar Rush Speedway, the red location Sugar Rush Speedway, where you can move a character to another location for free. Oh, and you can do okay. There's a couple cards that allow you to move for free, but Sugar Rush Speedway specifically makes you like take a damage to move to another location for free.
Yeah, and some have conditions like the Jolly Roger location. Pirates can move there for free because they are pirates.
Skull Rock is the same way. Pirates will gain a lore when they're at that location. The location will gain lore.
Yep.
So
yeah, so there's some nice synergies with some of them.
The Institute of Technology. Sorry, I actually love that card. Sorry, I got a little excited there. I will zoom in because this is so small. Okay, here we go, guys. Oh gosh, not my
Got it.
red mug. So next we have, just because I don't know, some of us are collectors. My boyfriend and I like to collect a master set of every card from every set. We're a little crazy, but we also both play the game, so it just makes sense. For the collectors of us, the set number is here, the number of the card, and then how many cards are in that set. And then above that is the artist name.
Yeah.
Pretty
And
simple.
also, just in case, as of right now, there is no restriction on language of the cards. So that left of the set number and right of the card number in the set, we can see that this is part of the English Lorcana card set for the first chapter, which is set 1. So that is another thing to look out for. And I know some people may be playing other language cards, and thankfully we have a database of being able to look up these cards to know what their abilities are, because that can be very hard to, if I play a Japanese Hades, then are you just going to trust me that what I tell you it does is what it does, if you don't know what that card already has as an effect? So never be afraid. That's another thing that we'll probably, I imagine, touch on, because it's very important as people get into playing. Is every tournament, if you were to ever enter, should have judges. So always call a judge if you're ever unsure, and they can always tell you what that ability of the card is. So just something to look out for in case you run into any other language cards, because more and more people are getting into the game, and more countries are getting involved in competitive Lorcana. And the artists actually are very active in the Lorcana community as well. A lot of us have got our own cards signed by some of the artists, and
I love my signed card collection.
And it's just super cool. They'll a lot of times do little doodles on there. I have a one of the artists that did one of the Titans. Yeah, here we go with more Hercules stuff for the Hercules guy. And one of the Titans he did the artwork for, and he drew a little Hades on it with his signature.
I think another thing to note, I don't know how Lorcana is specifically going to do it, just touching on the other language thing, but I know that in Yu-Gi-Oh, because I was a previous Yu-Gi-Oh player, it was the player's responsibility to make sure that they had a translation of the card. I would assume it would generally be the same way with Lorcana, because if you are going to play another language card, you have to be able to provide the translation for it. So just FYI. And we have the database, we have the Lorcana app, we have Dreamborn, so they should realistically be able to pull up a translation for you. But always, always, always ask if you're unsure what the card says. Because I know that I play some crazy cards sometimes, and my teammates are like, what the heck does that do?
Yeah,
And I have
we'll
to
teach
let
what
them
jank means in a later.
Oh yeah. But yeah, that is very, very important, and I wanted to make that very clear for people, so that
yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah, your opponent should always, if you are playing another language card, make sure you have a translation available. Just because we are going back to DisneyLorcana.com, great resource, ladies and gentlemen. If you need further explanation on anything we kind of like just went over really quickly, they have the quick start book on DisneyLorcana.com. You can literally, if you want to, copy the URL. I will also be posting the link below to Disney Lorcana, to this specific booklet that you guys can go back and reference as well. I think we wanted to touch on this other thing too. Oh, here we go. Rarities. There you go. Take it away, DJ.
Yeah. So a part of any card game is when you open up a pack of cards, you're always going to have certain cards that are more likely to show up in your packs than others. And that fuels most of us in chasing the most lowest of probability cards that we can open instead of just waiting for someone else to open one and buy it. So nothing wrong with a little kind of chase, but just make sure that, as I've been guilty of, be aware of, how many packs you're opening. So with that, Lorcana has its own system of rarity system of how rare a card is, and that's not necessarily going to be determining its usefulness in a deck. There are even formats people have created called one being like Porcana instead of Lorcana as a little play on words, where you're only using what just commons and uncommons,
I
right?
think it's commons and uncommons only, which
Yeah,
is
you are
so
not
much
allowed to
fun.
play with any rare, super rare, legendary above cards, and that's just kind of a cool take on it because you don't have to have the rarest of cards to be able to play. This isn't, the Yu-Gi-Oh anime with you have to have a blue eyes white dragon that there are only 4 of in the world. So yeah, you have your common cards, which are indicated with a little circle, as we can see in this rarity key here below. Next up, we would have our uncommons. There are, just to kind of give you a reference, there are 6 commons, 1 of each ink color in every Disney Lorcana booster pack of cards.
Wait,
There
is
will
it
then
really
be,
one of each ink color?
Yeah.
there have always been 1 of
I
every ink
never
color.
noticed that.
So you can open
Yo.
thousands of booster packs and not know. You always learn something new every day.
Yo, I've opened cases of Lorcana.
I'm checking the math right now.
Oh my god.
Yes.
Yeah, steel. Every common is a different color.
Yep.
Oh, that's so
Perfect.
cool. I didn't know that. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry. Fun
And
fact
then
of the
We're
day.
learning together.
and then after your 6 commons, you'll have 3 uncommons that will be 3 of 1 of the each ink color. Only 3 of those ink colors you'll have 1 of. So hopefully, by law of averages, you end up with an equal number of each ink color uncommons. And then after that, you'll have 2 slots that can be a rare or higher in each of those slots. So you can have a rare and another rare, which would be the next rarity up. And then you can have, if you're lucky, you can have a rare in the first slot and a super rare in the second slot. That would be the next bump up there in rarity. And then finally, you would have the legendary, which is this nice gold little pentagon there. Another way I've kind of remembered when I first started the rarity symbols is the rare is a triangle that has 3 points to it. And then it goes to a super rare, which has 4 points to it, and then the legendary, which has 5 points to it. So it kind of escalates, goes up from there when it comes to the rare slots. Tanya learned something new.
Did you know
again.
that? Did you know that, Tanya?
She did not.
No.
Okay, I was gonna say it's bronze, silver, gold. That's how
That
I
too,
remember
that
it.
too.
That
Yeah,
also
that's
works.
how I remember it.
I mean, you take it
Yeah.
a step further. The Enchanted is 6-sided, so
Yeah.
Yo!
And then
And then the common has no sides and the uncommon has 2 sides. Oh my gosh, my
yeah, it
brain
has
is
like a book,
exploding.
2 sides of the book. Yeah. There are people with brains that came up with these design
Yo.
choices, and even the colors of the different rarities kind of increase in, I say for lack of a better term, fanciness and like ornateness. So you go from kind of that dull gray to a white to like almost a
Bronze.
bronze, yeah. And then into like a more shiny silver, and then your very shiny gold. And then those would be all of your rarity types. And there is a last slot in every booster pack that would have a of English booster packs at least. Uh, and that will be a foil slot. That can be a foil, hollow foil known as a cold foil in Lorcana, where it's nice and shiny, of either a common, uncommon, rare, super rare, or legendary card. And if you are extremely lucky, there are what are known as enchanted cards. Enchanted cards can be of different rarity cards, but they are alternate arts as you would know them in other different TCGs. And those will completely change how the card looks. It's not just going to make it a shiny version of what the normal card looks like. So here's just a list of some of the enchanted arts. So we have our regular Jasmine here and then the enchanted version. There's only a limited number of cards that are given the enchanted treatment per set in set one. And it was set 1 and 2 only had 18 enchanted, or
Yeah,
sorry,
it's
12.
because it was before locations came out.
Yep. And then
Mhm.
once they introduced locations, there then ended up being went up from 2 enchanteds per color per ink to
There's
3
three.
enchanteds per ink color. So these can be characters. They then introduced amazing ones like the Along Came Zeus, which is a song. So there's no limit to what types of cards they can choose to get that enchanted treatment. And typically, ever since the locations came out, it'll typically be 2 characters of an ink color and then a non-character of that ink color that get the enchanted treatment. So that can be a location, an action, song, uh, and we haven't had any items yet. Oh, yes, we did. I'm
Yep.
a
Yeah,
liar.
yeah,
The
yeah.
sorcerer's hat.
Sorcerer's hat. Yeah.
Yep.
There's a couple items. I don't know that we have too many items, but we definitely have a couple. But I like that there's been a lot of locations because I think the location arts on Enchanteds are really pretty. I
Yeah.
think it's also worth noting, we talked about this actually before this video, is that each set has its own, what did we call it? Uh, like a
Art
theme, yeah.
style of, yeah.
So one of the more dominant ones was Ursula's Return. Everybody like I feel like everybody hated this set for like a really long time, like the Enchanted, until it was kind of announced that the theme, because it's very dark, the theme is also Ursula's Cauldron. So every card that you see, every enchanted that you see, is you're viewing it essentially through Ursula's Cauldron because the set's name is Ursula's Return. And then also again another themey one this set because it's the pirate theme, so it's like meant to kind of, I think, look like a map ish
Like
kind of.
schematics or something.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
very schematic-y. But I love this set. DJ hates this set. I
I'm
love
not a
this
big
set
fan.
so
I
much.
like the very colorful ones. I like, set 1 will definitely, even just without it being the quintessential, always your first impact. It's like Generation 1 in Pokemon. But
Mhm.
yeah, this set and as well, set 5,
Shimmering
Shimmering
Skies.
Skies,
Yeah.
is very vibrant, very in your face, and just fun, and everything that you would think with Disney. So these are some amazing artworks. They all are truly.
Mhm.
It's just a matter of preference when it comes to the different art styles that the artists are pretty much given um, free reign to do on these based on the kind of theme of that set that they're going for.
Oh, someone say that they're quite enchanting.
Yeah.
I'm
Another
so
thing just
flattered.
to note is that there are also promotional versions of cards that you can earn
Oh, yes.
organized play and also through competing in Disney Lorcana challenge events.
Mhm.
Those are ways you can earn
Yeah.
these additional types, or like the D100 promotional cards they had during the Rise of the Floodborn as a gift set.
Oh, and then this one, the Disney 100 gift set thing that they did. Mhm.
Yep. So those are other alternate cards that you may see or come across in the game.
Yeah. And so none of them, these versions you'll find in booster packs. It'll only be earnable through those things mentioned. You will see some that have more than one symbol. For example, like the set championships that are actually about to start up here soon.
I
By
was
the
like,
time you're
where's the
seeing
set
this,
champ card?
uh, uh, the very first row had one with, oh,
Oh,
there's
oh,
Ursula,
there you go. Here you go.
there's Mirabelle.
Yes,
So this
so
one is a promo, but also an enchanted card. So that's a pretty cool winnings that you can get at set championships, which Ravensburger supplies
this has
stores.
3.
Yep, there's
The
the
regular.
D23
Oh
promotion.
yeah,
Oh yeah, the D23. Oh yeah, this is the first D23 promotion too, so it has like the first on it as well.
yeah. That was
Um,
long before the game even came out, and
yeah.
so you'll be paying a pretty penny if you want those versions.
It says it's only 522.
Lies.
It's all lies, I know. Yeah. And then they have obviously league play is the easiest way to get promos. Every store that carries, because you have to be what is it, an official Ravensburger partner, I think, or something like
Organized
that.
play store.
Yeah, organized play store to receive any league promotions and also to receive product. They actually required that of LGSs, which is local game stores, which I thought was really awesome that you couldn't just like get a bunch of product and like hoard it and stuff. Like you had to become part of this like organized play society kind of to like be part of getting product, getting the league promos and different stuff like that, because you can also get pins, you can get one thing that they did this time was they came out with these like the color boxes, which I thought was really like little storage boxes, which I love. One time they did a deck box, but they always, oh, there you go,
Yeah.
Sleeves.
sleeves and deck boxes and stuff. So yeah, there's lots of
Point
ways
is,
to get
go
cool cards.
play so you can get neat things.
Yeah.
And every store is going to do things a little bit differently too. So if you find a store, I would just reach out and ask what their structure is, uh, what day they have their league play on, how do you earn those promos, because it's going to vary per store. So, for example, I haven't gotten a lot of the pins because it varies on how they do it, whether it's like a raffle or based on like a tournament that you have to win or go so many times. And they even give like Ravensburger gave like ideas for how to earn points that you can get extra prizing. So they started out with some fun ones like win a game with 3 characters on the board from the same like franchise. So like you could have like trying to make sure I'm not making an illegal deck, like Lilo, Stitch, and Pleakley for a yellow blue deck or something like that. So if you had all 3 of those, then you get an extra point. So there are a lot of cool different ways that stores can kind of make it fun.
Yeah.
It doesn't always have to be focused on the hyper competitive.
It's not always about winning.
Yeah, I know our locals, one of our locals did like one of the options was like if you wore Disney
Yep.
clothes or shirt or anything, you could get an extra point. You had a theme deck, you could get an extra point, like different stuff like. And now it's way easier to make theme decks because back then it was really hard. That was like I'm just thinking like set 1, like I was like theme deck, like I don't have enough cards for a theme deck.
Yeah.
um but yeah, so it's definitely not as hard as it may seem, and it's a lot of fun, and you meet a lot of cool people. So
Yeah.
but yeah, that's pretty much the gist of this video. Realistically, we just wanted to go over kind of like the basic cards. If you have any suggestions, wow, I forgot the word. If you have any suggestions, please leave them below. If you would like to see anything in any of our videos, please leave us a comment. If you like it, please like it, subscribe to our channel. We are very excited to do this series, and we're going to get a little bit more in depth as the videos go on. Our next 3 are going to focus a little bit more on game mechanics. So we're very, very excited about that. Check out next week because we'll have the new video, chapter 1 video 3 of the series on game mechanics. It'll be the basics. And we would like to say thank you to our sponsor, House of Cards, who we will link below if you would like to see their TCG store. They have a ton of stuff, not just Lorcana, Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh! What was the new game? There's a new game that just came out that I can't. Alpha Clash. That they have available. Yeah, they just have
I was gonna
everything.
say Elestrals. I know I've heard that one start coming up.
And One Piece, if
They have
Pokemon,
Yeah, they have
everything.
everything. So
Cardboard
check them
Miguel.
out. Yeah, check them out below. If you're local to the Winston area, it's House of Cards in Winston. You can place an order for pickup. If not, they'll ship to you. They're great. But yeah, we are very excited for this series, and we'll see you in our next video. Bye.
See ya.